Hi everyone, welcome back to Rachandbellacrafts. It's Rachel here, hope you're well. So for today's video, I'm going to do a tutorial on how to make fast and easy pockets with tucks using junk mail and leftover envelopes. So I've written down the instructions here so that it's nice and clear for you, and also so that I can follow them too. But if you do need them, I will pop them up onto the screen afterwards, okay? So first of all, we're going to look at types of envelopes that you may want to use. So these kind of envelopes here are ideal. These are the sort of things that you would get if you've had a birthday card or a gift card or anything like that. And if your family are like my family and they know you like to reuse your envelopes, they won't have sealed the flap. We're going to utilise the flap on the top of the envelope. So if it has been sealed, obviously try and prise it open really, really carefully if you can. But we are going to, you will want to seal one section of it, so don't write it off if it has been sealed, because we can always utilise it in a different way. There's always another way, isn't there, with the junk mail. You can also do this with a long shape envelope. You can also do this with a small shorter envelope. So here I've got an example of a craft envelope that's just made with craft brown paper. This is another ideal shape. Here's another one I've got here. These are quite interesting, obviously, because they've got the patterns and colours on this. So obviously if you can find something that is similar in colour to your theme or to what it is that you're going to be working with, you know, it's kind of less embellishment for you then as well. So the one that I'm going to work with today, I've already picked. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to cut your envelope in half. So this is in half, not this in half here, because that will kind of defeat the object, but down here. So where you've got your flap, you want that to be facing up, and then you want to cut centrally down there. Now, how you can do that is either by folding the envelope in such a way that you are able to find out where the dead center is. So if you were to do that, and then you can cut straight down the center then. All right, so that's the first step. Cut your envelope in half. Okay, so I have selected the envelope that I know is going to fit into my journal. So let me just show you, double checking now with my page. Sorry, I should have done that at the beginning. It is the first step. You see, this is, I write them down, I still don't even remember to do them. So pay attention, Rachel. Right, so let's just find an empty page a second. Oh, that's a nice feeling. It takes a while to find an empty page. It means my journal is filling. Okay, so that will be perfect, because we're going to be making a pocket with a tuck with a tuck spot, and that's ideal because it'll nicely sit then within the page, and obviously my tag, my ephemera and everything will sit within that. So I'm perfectly happy with that size of envelope, and also I know I want it to go on that side as well. So let's put that back over there a second. So the first thing that we're going to do then, after we've done that, the next thing we're going to do is decide where we want the envelope to open. Now you can have your pocket, obviously you want to kind of utilize this flap here. So this bit here you're going to be looking at, we're going to close up there so that we'll have, just take that a second, we'll have a nice tuck spot in here, okay? But you can either then have a top opening where you can use that then as a pocket, or you can have a side opening where you then make a nice journal card and you can pull that out of the actual pocket itself. But when we're fixing this to the page, we will also only fix on 3 sides. So you will have either an extra tuck spot there, or again, if you want to do it on the side, you can have a tuck spot there. So what might be a nice idea is to have a opening on the top for your pocket, for your tag, and then have, when you seal it on the page, seal it this way, so then you can pop in a side tuck then with a nice journal card with a tab on, maybe, just an idea. Okay, so once you've decided which way you're going to open your envelope, so I'm going to open mine at the top. So I'm just going to very carefully slice the top of the envelope open. Now ideally you would use the paper cutter to do this, your slicer, but I don't want to have to go around the other side of the table and shake the camera, so I'm simply just going to snip off the top of the envelope, and that now should give us, there we are. I love it when that happens and it all works. Right, there we go. So that's the top section there. Now when it comes to securing this bit here down, just be careful that you don't, if you're not, I'm going to sew mine. If you're not going to sew your pocket and you're going to use glue, just be careful not to apply too much glue, because bear in mind that this is part of the, let me just show you. You're going to be putting something in the top here, and that's going to come down this far, especially if you're going to use a tag. So make sure you don't go putting glue on this section here. All right, you only want to be running something up the corner there, up the side there, just to secure it in place. So that way then you'll have two nice double pockets. Okay, so that's just something to bear in mind. Okay, so before we go any further, we now want to think about if we're going to cover your envelope. You may want to do that now at this point, so that when you go and sew, you're not trying to then squeeze bits and pieces in. So I'm going to just quickly cover my envelope a second. I've cut the pieces ready so that I'm not taking up loads of time, and so that you haven't got to listen to me tearing and inking. Okay, so let's grab my glue, and I'm going to just quickly add these pieces on here now. So I've selected some pieces from the kit that I'm working with at the moment, and this piece here I've just embossed just to make it look a little bit more interesting. Okay, so let's just glue those into place now. And as I say, just remembering, of course, not to go adding glue below that line there. So it might be easier, in fact, if you pop the glue onto the envelope, and then you can fix then anything that needs fixing in place, rather than ending up sticking your pocket closed. And let's just pop that on there. Just double check that my edges line up, because I can't see from here without popping my head in the way of the camera, which is a bit annoying for you, isn't it? So I won't do that. Also because I think I need to do my hair colour, so we won't be putting that on show this morning. There we go. Okay, so just make sure all of that fits nice and neatly in there. Yeah, that's lovely, brilliant. And as I said, I haven't put any glue on that bit there, because we don't want to glue it shut, do we? And then the same then with this piece here. So I'm just going to stick that on there like that. But again, I'm going to do it by adding the glue to this section here, just so I don't over glue. In fact, let me do that on there so I just don't get it all over my book. There we go. Just glue that bit there. Okay, so I've got no sticky substances down below here, which is great. And then when we fold up the flap, that's brilliant, perfect. Okay, and then last but not least, there's a little puppy squeak I hear behind me then. They're all now up, eyes open, on their feet, walking around, causing mayhem. It's brilliant, I love it. So we'll just slide that into place on the front of there. Just bring that flap down so that we know it's completely covering where it should be. That's brilliant. Now, before I go and sew, this is obviously a point now in which I can just cut off anything that's not quite lining up or is, you know, has overshot my paper. So I'll just neat those corners up a little bit. These are great, quick little pockets to do as a way to obviously use up some of those envelopes, because obviously I don't know about you, but I know I tend to, oh yeah, I'll hang on to that, I'll hang on to that. The funny thing about it was, when I was looking for envelopes to do this video last night, I know I've got a huge handful of them somewhere. Do you think I could put my hand on them? Nope. And yet they are probably one of the most moved objects in my craft room. I'm constantly picking them up and moving them because I'm not quite sure where to put them. So last night I thought, right, it's time to use up some of these envelopes, and I couldn't find them, could I? So they'll probably turn up now in the week. I'm not really worried. Keep that bit of embossed paper there, because we like the embossed paper. Put my sticky bits in the bin. So don't keep everything. Right, okay, so that looks good there. And I'm just going to trim down here. This also then just gives your glue a chance to dry off before you go in add any sewing. But I'm going to be stitching, like overlock stitching on the edge, so that's why I'm just making sure that my edges are neat and tidy before I do that. Otherwise they're all going to bunch up and we don't want that. Okay, and just that little bit there. Perfect. Okay, I'm happy with that. Right, so let's just make sure now everything's inked. Because obviously I've just cut all the edge ink off. There we go. And I need to just ink down the side of my, don't forget to ink down the front of your flaps. Now, if you've got really nice envelope paper and you don't want to cover them, that's absolutely fine. You don't have to do this step, but just make sure that you kind of do something with this flap here because you want it to stand out and it'll be obvious that it is a tuck spot. Because, you know, if you're putting it in a journal and it's a gift for somebody, or, you know, if you're selling your journal and you don't put ephemera in it, that might be missed then. Now, this is also the point at which you could, if you wanted to, oops, excuse me, you could round off your corners. So you could use your corner cutter and take those off to make it kind of look like a bit more of a journal card shape. I'm not going to do that, but that is just an option for you to bear in mind. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and I'm going to stitch the pocket. I'm going to start by stitching here. So I'll overlock that flap there. Then I am going to stitch I'm going to put some lace on the top. Sorry, I was just pausing to think then. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of lace on here, but I'm going to stitch that on as well before I seal the pocket. So anything that needs to be stitched, do it now, because obviously once we seal the pocket up, that's it, it's done, sealed. And then once I've stitched the lace onto the top here, and once I've stitched this pocket edge here just to reinforce it, and I may add a little bit of lace there, then I will go around this edge here, and then this edge here just to seal that hole up there and hold everything tightly in place. And I'm going to use a zigzag stitch that I will overlock on the edge. So before we go over there, let's just pick some lace. Let's see what we've got in my little tub here. I want something creamy, I think. Nothing too big. Should we just try... Should we try this one a second? That's pretty, but it's a bit big, isn't it? Okay, what about this one? Oh, that's lovely, isn't it? Right, I think I'm going to use that one because I used this one on my last one, which is very nice. But it'd be nice to have two different types in my journal. So I'm just going to add a dab of glue just to kind of keep that in place while I cut it and take it over to the machine. So let's pop that on there a second. There we go. There we are. Oh, that's lovely. And then I think we might put a little piece down here. I'm not sure about that, but I think I might go with the white actually, because I like the change of colour on the front. Here we are. Right, I'm not going to add that on there at the moment. I'm just going to cut it to size a second because I want to overlock the pocket underneath before I pop that in place. So I'll just cut that, so I've got it cut ready. There we go. Right, I'm just going to nip over to the machine now and do my stitching, and then I will be back. Okay, so that's all of the stitching done. That's our pocket all sealed and put together. So I just had a horrible thought, then I thought for a moment I'd just sealed it shut, but I haven't. Okay, here we go. Phew! Right, so let's just have a quick look. So we've obviously got ourselves a nice little tuck spot here at the front, and then we've got ourselves a nice deep pocket then in the actual envelope. And as I say, then when we fix it to the page, you can either then have the gap here or a further gap behind, or you can just have it as a tuck spot and just fix it on 2 sides. Okay, so what's next on my list of instructions to do? Let's have a little look. So we've selected our envelope size appropriate to the page size. Did that, check. We cut the envelope in half, so you should end up then obviously with 2. We've chosen which side we wanted to have the pocket open, because I cut the top open there, if you remember. Covered the envelope with decorative paper. Then I went and I glued or stitched, because obviously you don't have to stitch this project, 3 sides of the envelope, and I've left the pocket opening open. So all we've got left to do is embellish. Okay, so what I'm going to do with my little pocket here is I'm going to add some of these lovely little cute hearts that are in our Shades from the Past kit, and I'm going to just make little tiny pockets that go in here with them, because I thought that'd be quite a nice addition. So I might pop that one in there, and then I'm going to just seat that one there then slightly off center, so then I'll have a little tuck there and a little tuck there. So I just pop a bit of glue onto those and we can get them on there. So nothing too complicated, because to be honest, I don't think it needs a huge amount of embellishing, because the journal is, not the journal, the pocket kind of does it for itself, doesn't it? Especially if you've added a bit of lace to it. A little bit of ink on there, there we go. It's pretty much done then, isn't it? So let's put a little bit of glue around that edge there. There we go. And pop that into place there. There we are, that's lovely. And then we should have a little tuck spot here and a little tuck spot here, which we have. So that's marvellous. So all that needs now is all of the elements and bits and pieces added in. So let's just have a quick look here. So we've got this lovely big journaling card. I might pop that in the top. I wonder if that'll fit now. Yes, it will. It'll fit quite nicely. So you're going to have your journaling card in there. And then if you've got a bit of vintage ephemera or what have you, you can then add those into here. And then, I mean, this, you can really stuff this pocket full. It's great. And, you know, these pockets will carry quite a lot and quite a lot of elements and things and what have you. That was a bit of a mouthful, wasn't it? And what if we put some of these little labels in the front of here? Okay, and we've got these numbers here. And I did have a couple of tickets bouncing about. Oh, there's one there. Sorry about the arms. And then perhaps we'll use one of these lovely labels out of our new label kit. So we'll pop that in there. We'll pop that lovely little label behind there. But like I say, these are great, especially if you haven't yet done all the embellishing in your journal, because you can then just add all these little bits and pieces, and they'll all be safely tucked away in there. So there we go, that's that pocket. So I'm going to just show you a couple of, a few I did earlier with alternate ideas and ways of doing things. So these are 2 that I've made. I haven't covered these because I wanted you to be able to see the shape of them. This obviously was initially an envelope. That's one of the craft envelopes, and I've cut it in half. So of course then I'm going to have one that goes that way and one that goes that way. But I chose not to do it like that. Instead, I turned it around so that the opening is in the top. So on my page, let me just grab my page a minute. It will look like, oh, more fingers and thumbs here. Right, here we go. Let's pop it on. Let's pop it on here a second. There we are. So on the top of the page, it will look like that. And as I explained earlier, then you'll have a tuck spot behind as well. But you will also then have a tuck spot in front. But then there's this one here. Get that out of the way a second. This one I've done a little bit differently. So you'll pop it onto the page, take out anything that's large. You'll have a pocket there. And then if you fix it this way, you can use it as a bottom tuck here. Perhaps you could put a little notebook or something in there. And then here you can add something else. So you can have a tuck then from the front, you can have a tuck from the bottom, and then you can still have a pocket in the top. Or you can have it this way, where you can pop it down there and you can put something in there that way. And then you can still have your tuck spot then behind there as well. So that's just one alternative idea there. Here are a few, as I said, that I made earlier on and embellished. So that's the same style as the one that you've just seen me make. This is one that I did before I did the video, just to check that it worked. So as you can see, you've got your side tuck there. I've put a little label on the front there, that's out of the kit, and then I've added some of the elements there from the kit as well. And then in here, lovely deep pocket, we've got our nice big tag. And then obviously when I glue it to the page, I can then either glue it and leave the back open, so I'll have the tuck space behind, or, and which I will probably do with this one because it is quite a long pocket, I will add glue it on those sides there, and then I will leave this side open and then have a nice little journaling card in there, which I will then put a tab on so that I can catch all of that and pull that out. I've also done two others as well. These are using a different shape envelope again. Now this envelope was a tall long envelope with a little flap on it. So what I've done there again is I've cut it in half and I've sealed it up to the top, and I've put a little circle cutter hole in there. The other thing that I've done that's a little bit different with this one is where I've layered the paper. If I just take those out of there a second, I have actually left that then as another tuck spot. So with this one, you've got your tag, you've got a tuck spot in here. So I've put a little heart in there. You've got a tuck spot then at the bottom. And of course, then when you fix it to the page with a longer envelope shape like this, you can either affix it to the page like this, so that you've got a nice big tuck spot area there. Well, actually, you could probably put something quite large behind it then, couldn't you? So I'm just thinking, you know, you've got that there, perhaps have your tag hanging out a little bit, so that looks quite attractive there. And then you can have a nice big spot there, or you could put it in the center of your page and you could use it as a belly band, which is another idea. So there's so many things, sorry for hiccups, so many things that we can do with these pockets. This one then is obviously the other side, and I did the same thing again there. So I just added a little tuck spot in there. So you've got a tuck spot in there. You know, if you wanted to, you could put your labels on and leave the gap behind, and you could have a little tuck spot in there as well. And then obviously you've got your tag in here, and then when you pop it onto the page, you can either leave a gap then behind to add something further, or you can, as I just explained, use it as a belly band or as a side tuck. So you would then be able to pop something quite large in behind it. Okay, so I think that's everything for today. I think that's all of the pocket instructions there for you. I will just pop the sheet back in front of you again now, so you can kind of just get a refresher of the steps. So there we go, and there's the pocket. So if you did want to take the screenshot, there they all are there, so you know what's happening. Oh, actually, if I put them that way, that looks better, doesn't it? Yeah, so everything's written down on there. I haven't included any puppy pictures today. If you do want to see any more puppy pictures, please tell me in the comments. I don't want to bore you all to death. But if you do want to see how they're getting on, let me know and I'll chuck a few pics in for you. But other than that, that's everything for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave us a like and a comment. And if you haven't yet subscribed, consider subscribing. And if you click on the bell, you'll get notifications then every time we upload a video. But other than that, everyone have a really great day and thank you so much for watching. Take care now. Bye-bye.